Should we wait one more minute? We've got a few people joining. And then we can start. Cool. I'd say let's get it started. Hello everyone. Welcome to April's office hours. We've got a few champions attending. We've got someone I think from the Experience League, if I'm not mistaken. And we have a few questions to go through today. But as always, if you have anything you'd like to discuss, please drop them in the chat. We'll do a quick round of intros, but before that, just to remind you, these sessions are being recorded. So if you don't feel comfortable with that, or if you do not want to be recorded, feel free to either drop off or not add anything in the chat. Cool. That being said, I'm Iwana. I've joined one of those sessions, so some of you might know me already. I am based in London and I work for IBM Consulting. This is my first year as an Adobe Analytics Champion, and it's been great so far. I'm really, really enjoying it. And I've been kind of working in the web analytics space and with Adobe Analytics for around 6-7 years now. I'll pass it on to Mark.
Hello everyone. So this is my second year in the Champions program. I work as an Insights Analytics Manager for Commonwealth Bank of Australia. So we're the largest bank group-wise in Australia. So I get to play around in Adobe Analytics quite a bit, which is fantastic. And we're actually in the progress of rolling out AP, so I'm looking forward to jumping onto customer journey analytics. So I've been using analytics for over 10 years. So I've done various things from the coding side to enablement, and I'm doing reporting now. So I'll hand over to you, Krishna.
Thank you, Anna and Mark. Morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. This is Krishna Musku. I'm working as a senior digital tagging analyst with Amica Insurance based in Rhode Island. I've been working with Adobe Analytics from past 9 years, and previously we had IBM Digital Analytics, and then we transitioned over to Adobe. And coming to Adobe advocacy programs, I'm the community advisor for the class of 2023, which for the second class in the last year. And I'm not the champion yet, but I work with the Mandy and Jennifer, Jeff, like a couple of times. I met with them, so I'm interested in the user group meeting. So I volunteered myself to join to share my expertise as well as getting to know more from other champions as well. Welcome.
Cool. I think we can get started with the questions. So as I said, the session is recorded, and what we usually do is we upload these sessions to YouTube. So if you want to check out any of the previous sessions, you will be able to find them there. But yeah, let's get started. I can see you've taken the first question, Krishna. Would you want to start with it?
Yeah.
And if you need to zoom in, just let me know. I can zoom in a bit more.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So here we have the first question: how can we set up event tracking to capture user interactions? So, yeah, specifically the custom events are known as conversion events as well as the success events. We have like three types of events in the custom events funda, which is counter events, numeric, and also the currency. So the counter events are like the count of events as well as the increments. For example, let's say checkouts, login starts, maybe login successful. Depends on the industry. You have like some specific ones. The numeric events is specific to the number of counts you want to do that specifically. I mean, for our insurance field, how many customers like completed the codes, or else uh, for the remaining ones, like number of products added to the card, like that. And in the currency value, let's say we had the code completed, and what's the code value that the customer created, as well as for the other industries, order value in that card, maybe how much discount they got applied to that order, as well as the taxes, those things. And there are some defined events from Adobe Analytics as well, which has purchase events, cart additions, cart removals, cart views, checkouts, and also the product views. So there are like two things to be noted in the purchase event as well as the product views. The purchase event is heavily depend on the products as well as the purchase ID variables, which and also affects the order units and revenue metrics based on the purchase event. For the product views, you can implement the product views in both ways. One, through the event, having the prod view value exist in the events variable, or else defining the products directly, and events variable should be empty. So that's how you define the product view. So in both ways. I think yeah, that's specific to the event tracking. But even though it's not even the events, you can capture like many interactions in some other ways as well. Starting from query string parameters, and yeah, there are like many ways to track the like success events or custom events.
Cool. Thank you. I guess just to add on to everything you've just said, for for capturing user interactions, you can basically define anything you're interested in. It doesn't need to be something default. So it might be very particular to your own application or website. If you're interested in that particular interaction and it's valuable to you, you can work, with the development team to create it. It doesn't need to be something standard, and that's what I've been doing, at least with my clients, is making as specific as possible to your use case.
Yep, I agree with that on that. So it's not only the as I mentioned, it's not only the specific ones that they're like some of the ones I mentioned as just the example. It's like not like industry specific. So I work in insurance field, and like our company look at the events or interaction very differently. So based on the requirements, we work with the team to get those like requirements into the solution difference document, and then we work on it to capture like however like we want. So it's all depends on the how deep you can go into the customization for the events. You can get those defined, and the limit for the events, I think it's 1,000. But yeah, I think yeah, we never reached 1,000, but I know the limit is like 1,000 events you can define.
Yeah. And I'll just jump in as well, just very specific to CTAs and link tracking. We do have a framework where we capture CTA values in an EVAR, and we have an event called interactions. We try and make sure that we're not scraping the DOM or using CS or labels. We actually set that value via AEM, and it's programmatic. So if people change CTA or change something from apply now to apply, it doesn't impact the value that we capture in the EVAR. It stays the same. So there are frameworks, but it's really what framework you're using. If you're using Adobe Tags or DTM or some other tag management system, how the coder or the engineers would deploy it.
Cool. I'll scroll on to the next one, which is about filtering metric values. Mark, would you want to?
Yep, I'll talk you through this one.
Yeah.
I've never seen an out of the box solution for this, and I think it's been a request for quite a while with Adobe, but there is a workaround that I've used that I've seen, I'm sure in Experience League or somewhere like that, using a calculated metric. So I'll just walk through how we do that. So I'll just get you to create a calculated metric, please, Anna, to start with. Cool. And yep, visits greater than 1,000. Fantastic. Now, if we go to add on the container on the right-hand side, yep, click function, go to select, click if. Yep, and then if we click add again below, click function, select, and look for greater than. Or you can just type greater.
Yes. I've got my laptop covering my screen, sorry. Yeah.
Yep, and then if we click add again, below, static number, and we put in 1,000. Oh, sorry. What we need to do is drag visits across first.
So it would be, yeah, it's...
Yeah, sorry. So drag visits across, yeah. Sorry, I missed that step. And then when we have value if true,
hang on. So this would be 1,000.
On this one here, yep, put 1,000, yep. And then where we have value if true, drag visits across onto that one. And if value is false, static value is 0. Static number, 0. Okay. So this is going to bring back all your dimensions still, but what it'll do is it'll show the dimensions above 1,000 with whatever number that is, and all the other dimensions it should show below 1,000 should show as 0.
So if you'd have...
And visits, yeah. Put that one on there. You don't actually need to have visits. Yep, you can put visits greater than 1,000.
And then just to prove the point, I think if you do it this way, like everything that's like below 1,000, it gets 0 value.
Correct.
Yeah, cool.
So I think the other part of it was then they wanted to be able to do a compare. So then you can just do a compare, and then because the value is not low, you'll get a pretty good comparison. So then if you right mouse click on under values is greater than 1,000, under values is greater than a cell, yeah. Compare time periods.
Okay.
And yep, you can do per month. Yep, and it'll put it in there. So all those low values are not going to be there. All the top numbers or volume will be at the top. So I think that was the actual issue or the problem statement.
Yeah.
That low numbers were still showing at the top. And that's quickly a workaround for that.
Nice.
So, Mark, a quick question on this one. So, I know the values with less than 1,000, it will show as 0, but we can't like get rid of those page names, right? In the freeform table, let's say if you are downloading it.
No, I've never seen that done, and I know it's been a request to Adobe for I think back to 2018 or 2019, and I don't think anything out of the box has been done for it. So you're right, you're still going to see those dimensions, and you can't get rid of them that are 0.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Be fantastic if you could, and it'd be nice if Adobe implemented a function to do that. So, but this is a nice quick workaround for it.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. And then there was a second part of the question. So the first one was about filtering those low values, and then sort a table by dimension values. Like we can when segment names are.
Yeah,
sorry.
I actually know this one as well. Probably not on this one. So you can do a sort on static dimensions, but not dynamic dimensions. So this is a dynamic dimension. So you're not going to be able to do a sort on it. So static dimensions are values that you drag across into a table. And there's 2 ways that I've seen you can do this. So if you just create a new table, just one underneath. And if you go to, say, page, and click on the chevron next to page, and if you just drag, just select five different values.
Okay.
Yep, and drag them across. Okay, so because these are static dimensions, the values are not going to change. So if you go next to page, see how you've now got a sort icon next to page.
Yeah, you've got this thing.
Yep, so if you click on that, you can sort alphabetically. There is another way where you can actually put dimensions in any specific order, so it doesn't have to be alphabetically, and that's through the table builder. So I'll just quickly talk through that. So if you create another table, enable table builder, just underneath it, open that up, and underneath the table it says enable table builder in the panel.
I don't think I've worked.
No,
Yeah.
I can see it right in front of it.
Yeah,
that one.
Sorry.
There we go. So if you just go to page again, just grab one value, drag it across. See next to page one, yep, open that up and you'll see that value. Now if you grab forum or grab articles, drag that across and put that on top of page one and it'll add. Yep, and it'll put it underneath. And then if you grab category 2 and put it on top, it's just putting it at the bottom.
Yeah, it's
not actually doing it in alphabetical order. So you can put them in any order that you want.
Yeah,
now,
I never actually used this.
Yeah, if you click build, there is a bit of a trick as well. You'll have a sort on it as well, which you can sort alphabetically. So if you go to page, and it'll do it alphabetically again. But the original order that we had, you'll lose it and you can't get it back.
Yeah.
So you have to actually, you've got a little edit, yep, up there, clear, start again, basically.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yep.
I guess
they're the two ways that you can do a filter.
Thank you, Mark. This is super helpful. I guess the only other thing I do, but that's very specific to use cases where you need to have, I don't know, specific naming or order, or you need it to be easy to access. You can always have sort of segments or calculated metrics that you use for, you name them as you want to, or you have numbers. You can use that as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Will we have any questions in the chat? I haven't seen anything so far, so I guess we can continue to go through the questions.
Nope. No questions in the chat.
Cool. So we've got one on average time on site. Why does the average time on site metric yield such different values when all visit segments is pulled in a dimension with average time on site as the metric in a freeform table versus when the day is pulled in as a dimension with average time on site as the metric? Considering the average time on site values are so different in the two freeform tables above, which is the correct way to set up the freeform table to yield the accurate metric for average time on site spent across all visitors? I guess I can add, and we can have an open conversation about this. For me, I've always had trouble with average time spent, and you've got you've got average time spent on site, and then average time spent for specific dimensions, which are two kind of working separately and a bit differently. I don't think I have does anyone have a specific answer to this one?
Yeah, I'll have a crack. I think average time on site is a time between the values in a dimension. So you're probably not going to do it at a visit level on the site. I think if you, can you do a search for time spent per visit? Because this is the one that I would generally use, and you get like a bucket of values.
So yeah, you've got time spent.
So you got granular, and I think there should be a bucket. Yeah, so the orange one probably about 8 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down. That bucket one is what I found valuable.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So if you drag that across.
Sorry, let me start over.
And then if you put visits on there. And have a different time frame. So, and you can probably start to, again, depending what the use case is, this is if I was going to look at the time spent on site in a visit. I just find this a lot easier to read than just granular values, because you'll end up with like 1,000 granular values that are just, it's too hard for me to interpret. At least this way I can start to see patterns and trends. If I wanted to use that average time on site, I think you'd use that with dimensions, specific with dimensions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it depends a lot of what you're trying to like analyze. Like, are you interested to see the average time spent generally on the website, or is it specific for a page? Because it matters the way you do that, right? As you say, like if you correlate it to a specific dimension, that's important to understand how much engagement it generates rather than just generic things.
Correct. And you've got your time spent on page, and you can see that on the
that's what I
left-hand
was
side as
looking
well.
after. Because sometimes you want to analyze that over time for, like, I don't know, a homepage, or to see if there's anything that's been affected, that's dropped significantly, or it's taking ages because they're not finding the right content, or it depends also on the purpose of that page. Because if you have a homepage or something that should quickly take your user to where they want to go, then you would want to have a reduced time. Whereas if you have a page where you have some calculator where they should be interacting and filtering and adding values, you want them to spend a lot of time there. So it's all quite it depends on the context of your analysis, I guess.
Exactly. It's all around the context, definitely.
Sorry, you go. I was just thinking if there's anything else I want to add.
I was just thinking, Krishna, is there anything you want to add to that, or?
No, same thing. So, it depends. It's always depends on the use case or the specific scenario that you are looking at. So, for us, like, if a customer like completing a code, so they are like entering a lot of values. So, if I'm looking at that, in that, like completing the auto code or a home code for their insurance, so they're going to take like a lot of time. Even when they are filing the claim, they might want to upload the photos, which they go back and come back. So that's where it will take the time. So it's, if you are looking at the whole site, then I don't understand the scenario specifically, but depends on the pages. There might be a chance we get the good number, or else like good scenario in that. It's always the where specifically we are looking into it. So that's how we can use the time spent. So because I know there are like almost like 6 to 7 uh, components for these time spent, like based on the visitor as well as the page. So we have to use the correct ones specific to that scenario, then only I think we might be able to get the uh, exact answers that we want to tell to the stakeholders as to the business.
Yep. And thank you, Ying. Ying shared the link to the description of average time on site from the Experience League as well in the chat. So that actually goes into the actual calculation of all these time dimensions as well.
Cool. Average time spent on site. Cool. And I think we've got one last question in the workspace. So for everyone on the call, if there's anything else you would like to discuss, please drop your questions in the chat. So this one is related to orders and products. And there is a specific case here where, let's say you'd have 10 orders and each order contained 2 products, A and B. How would you count how many products are sold in total? The expected result would be 20, but if we use the order event, it returns 10 because there's 10 orders in total, and the person who submitted this says that if they're using the function approximate count distinct, it returns a count of a strange product bundle which contains products not sold today and changes among dates. So I think I was looking on Experience League, and I think we've got a really good answer from Jen. Before I go into this, does anyone on the call want to add anything? I know a very cheeky way of doing it, but it's very limited, and I'll walk through that as well. But do you guys want to add anything before I read the response from Jen?
Read the response from Jen first, because it's probably hopefully the answer's there, and if not, we can have a look at building out a table. I think I know what's going on, but we'll just see what Jen says.
Yeah, so she's basically where is it? Yeah, so it's the same question, and she's explaining that there's no kind of default way of doing it, and you can't use the price and quantity exactly. So her solution is to have a numeric merchandising event, or setting up one for unique products to replicate the total quantity of items. So you'd have basically two events, one with total products purchased and one with unique products purchased, because you could have in an order, I don't know, two of the same. So you want to kind of count that as well. And she's basically explaining how to set that up. Was your idea different, Mark?
It was similar, having another event for each product, basically. But Jen's actually gone into the actual code, so yep.
Cool. I think a very easy way to do it is not it won't work for a lot of products and but if you want to quickly add the numbers up, you can literally just select to display only the rows you're interested in. But as I said, that's not a long-term solution. It's just something you can quickly select and do. So if you do display only rows selected, you should get an add up of total products sold rather than orders, because they could be in the same order, if that makes sense.
Could you also, because obviously it's going to dedupe it, could you just download it as a CSV and just look at the total in Excel for the products?
Oh, you mean the...
So if you had all the products.
Yeah, sorry, just undoing.
And then if you just download as a CSV.
Oh, this might take a while. Let's see.
No, it's already there.
1 second. Oh yeah, you can add them up.
Don't worry about the total, yeah, because the top one's going to be deduped basically. So your line items are never going to match your total.
Yeah.
Then you can add them there.
You can add them, but I guess this is outside of workspace, and yeah, you can definitely do it manually.
So that was the other option I was thinking of, without having to go and get someone to go and implement new code.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always a challenge.
Yeah, this one is manual always. Sometimes I do have a weird request, we want to look at the specific number. It's not the total visits, the granular total. So I have to add them together, downloading the CSV is the same way used to do that.
Yeah.
Cool. We're at the end of our questions. We've got a suggestion. What if you just create a segment with the products? Yeah, I was thinking in that same kind of space with the select display only. You can do it for specific use cases, but I guess if you wanted to be very generic and be able to do it among 50 products or something, it can be quite manual. But yeah, I agree with that as well.
Yeah, create a segment, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you, Ing. So Mandy suggested sharing takeaways from the summit. I haven't been there in person. I've been watching some of the sessions. I was obsessed with Gen Studio. I have to admit that. I love everything that makes it very easy to create that sort of ads and campaigns and connect them. I was amazed by it. Um, do you guys have any?
No, unfortunately, I
Were any
couldn't
of
go
you
in
in person?
person as well. No, no.
Yeah, I was in person.
So I
Is there
think,
anything that you'd like to share, Mandy? Krishna, have you got anything?
yeah, I mean, this is my first time that I went in person for the summit. So yeah, I mean, it's really a wonderful experience, and sessions. I really learned a lot from the hands-on labs, specifically related to the CJA. We had like couple of CJA labs, one integration to the Power BI as well as the whole intro to CJA, which I like loved a lot. And coming to the keynote, so as I mentioned, like Gen AI, and I'm specifically interested in the Adobe Experience Platform AI Assistant, which I think it's only for 3 to 4 products which Adobe is offering: CJA, Adobe Journey Optimizer, and I don't know, like some other two as well. So it's like a you can directly query. Maybe it's kind of like a co-pilot. You can get the data. Maybe if, who is not pretty much like very much into CJA, they can just have their question. Maybe AI assistant will go give those answers. Like, let's say, how many
Yeah,
customers are like visited this page in span of this month. So they don't know how to build a freeform table, but the AI assistant will give that answer. So which is like nice for some users who don't know how to use CJA. It's not compatible for the Adobe Analytics, but AI Assistant, it's still in beta program. It can be used in the CJA. And yeah, as being a community advisor, I had like one Adobe Advocate Mixer, which we went to Top Goal for Mandy. There are like many champions, community advisor, and user group leaders are there, which is good. And the swag that you will get, there are like a lot of booths you can go. Roam around. You will get like a lot of information how they are like integrating with the Adobe products, and like the outcomes that you can get from the Adobe out of the box, which are nice. Like I went to a couple of booths, Acutix, I like that one. The work they are doing with the Adobe, and uh, yeah, Summit Bash. That's awesome. Like we had Shaquille O'Neal, also as DJ Diesel, which is a very good performance we had in a Summit Bash. And food, everywhere you will get food in the evening time in the community pavilion. And so we had like a one our like the user group meeting regarding the champion program yesterday, where Mandy is mentioning about the community pavilion, which is specifically for the Adobe products in the community pavilion. Like a peer-to-peer connection, like community advisors, they're like a small booths in that place. So I met like a lot of people over there previously as a community advisor, like from last year. I know like many people by their names, but this is the first time I get to meet them in person, and like share a lot of knowledge. Same way I connected with Mandy regarding this user group champion hours she's conducting. So I'm interested, and so that's how I joined into this meeting as a presenter too. So yeah, I mean, you will get to know a lot from Summit. So this is my
yeah,
first time. Maybe
sure.
hope, yeah, I hope to go like most probably every year.
Oh, that was awesome, Krishna. And
Yeah.
nice little segue. I'm about to start configuring CJA for CBA in about 2 or 3 weeks' time, so I might be reaching out to you. So
So forgot to mention one thing. So I think on the third day, the last session that we had, Adobe Analytics Rockstars. So they're like 5 people: Jen, Mandy, Katie, and then Jim, and another guy as well. So they had like totally 10 tips they gave for the Adobe Analytics, and Mandy is the one. She won the like the best tip from that Adobe Analytics Rockstar. So yeah, she is the mega rock star of it. So as Ing mentioned, yep, Jim Gordon, yeah, Matt Bentley. So they are the five people who gave the tips, like total 10. And so I got the Adobe Analytics for Dummies book signed by Eric Matisoff as well. So
Nice. That's,
nah.
I'm really jealous right now.
yeah.
We've got a few more things from Mandy. So, um, yeah, I think that's one thing I'm really jealous. I missed the session, the one led by Frederick. I'm sure it was great. I remember from the one at the summit we had last year in London, where he did a analytics quiz session where I completely failed. It was very intense. For the speakers, what's one tip that you would give people looking to up their analytics skills? I can add a few things here. So I think getting involved in the community is the best way to do it, because there's so many people that have so much knowledge and they're more than happy to share and support and share their experience and their use cases, especially on the experience league. If you post something, someone will definitely kind of jump in and recommend the way you can do something. I think Mandy, maybe you mentioned it yesterday in the session we had about how to submit a good champion application, is that there's no kind of competition or anything, especially in the champion community and on experience league. Everyone's just more than happy to kind of contribute, and it's something that I would really like to see, especially in the kind of Europe zone where I am, because I feel like the analytics community is not as big here. So if more people get involved and we create that sense of community, is just good. It's good for everyone. They get support in their day-to-day work. They improve their knowledge as well. Like even in this session, I'm learning things. So just attending, connecting with people. That's my number one advice. Do you guys want to add anything else?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. I think fantastic mentioning the community. I'll look at it a bit more holistically. I think it's good to have a agnostic understanding of digital analytics terms. So many times I see reports with unique visitors and visits and page views, and people don't really understand what the difference is. When I hear someone talk about a report, they'll mention hits, which always makes me squirm a little bit. So just understanding general terminology, and it can be Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics. You can transform those skills between both platforms. The other thing that I find really useful is you don't have to be a coder, but just understand how things are tagged and where things fire, because generally I find that people report and then we find that there's I don't know, maybe I've just been at CBA too long and I just know, I look at the numbers and I think, no, that's not right. I sort of know where things should be firing, so I can go and have a look and see where things are firing as a double check. And following on from that, I think if you go from one organization to another, you'll find everybody will have a very customized and Adobe Analytics implementation. So know the implementation for that organization. And by that, I mean, what's your attribution of your EVARs and your events and persistence and things like that, and understand what they are. Is it 14 days? Is it 30 days? Last visit? Do you use event serialization on events? Do you count every time? And Krishna sort of mentioned that, but it's just good to understand exactly what your EVARs and props and events are doing. But
I second that, Mark. So it's always every organization and like every team has their like way of own implementation. So we don't use launch, we don't use Adobe Tag. We have an insight and tag manage, which we had like from with IBM Analytics as well. So we kind of implemented Adobe Analytics in a vendor agnostic way. So we did everything through insight, and so every one has their like own way of doing things, same thing, my tip is always think out of the box. Don't get be comfortable in your way working with the Adobe Analytics. So that's what I learned in my past few years. Like after started working with Adobe Analytics, I am like comfortable like where I am working. But started looking in the community. So I was like, oh, can you have these kind of problems in Adobe Analytics? So then I got to know more about like looking into Adobe Analytics and try to solve them in the community, and then started like participating actively, learning more. Even being in a community advisor, it's not that like I know everything in Adobe. So that's even like from 100 years now working with Adobe Analytics, I won't be at that place. So it's always like giving back to community, as well as I'm, instead of like giving more, I'm like taking more from the community as the experience and from like everyone's expertise. So even being a speaker in this session, but I didn't know that how can we do that, like getting the more than 1,000 visits. So I tried like a couple of times, but it didn't work out, so which I got learned today. So I always say like keep engaging in the community and then think out of the box. So that's my tip. I mean, it's from my experience I'm telling.
Awesome.
Cool.
I don't think we have any more questions.
Yeah, I've sort of had to scroll through, and I think I don't think anyone has asked anything else. A shout out from Measure Camp. So
Cool. Well, we can wrap up earlier if that's it.
yep. Mandy, do you
Thanks.
want to say anything, or do we throw back to you? I'm not sure. That's our show. Excellent.
Thanks everyone for
Yep.
joining. The recording will be available on YouTube, and yeah, don't forget to sign up for the next session and send your questions. Thanks everyone, and thanks for to the presenters as well. Thanks.
Yeah.
For
Thanks,
joining me.
co-presenters. Well done. Thanks, everyone. Hopefully, you got
Thank
something
you,
out of
everyone. Thank you, Market. Thank you, Arina. Yeah.
it. See ya.